I like that, Miss Carla. How
Oh,
y'all
yes,
doing tonight?
sir.
I'm here live with my special guest host for the night, Miss Carla. I call her Miss Carla Nicole. As I get comfortable with her, I'm pretty sure she gonna want me to stop calling her Miss because she says she's not that old, but she a little bit older than me, so I want to. Uh, Tonight we have a beautiful topic, but before we get into that, I want to just let Miss Carla Nicole introduce herself, speak on her social media, what she's doing, how she found out about me, how we met, and basically explain what we're talking about tonight and the post that you made. So I'm gonna give the floor over to Miss Carla Nicole Willis. Let's go, ma'am.
Hi, guys. Good evening. So, if you guys don't know who I am Coach Carla Nicole. I am out here really just wanting to, I would say, build a bridge for the men and women that are struggling getting connected with each other. So, this is what I do. I actually am big about restoring love and getting back to self loving and really just trying to help to really get into a better, healthy way of relating to each other. So, what's deep is I happen to be scrolling on my channel and I always see this man on here ranting and raving about something. And I'm like, who is this guy? He is really on his passion. I love him. And I even shared some of his videos and I was like, who is this guy? I just love him. Well, he happened to post about, I think, what were you asking? Like, what were you talking about? What was it? You were asking about
It
why.
has something to do with motherhood and why we move the way we move. And
Right.
you basically gave 5 points that I thought were so dope. So I said I was gonna have you on the show, and
Yes.
you're here today.
Yes, yes. And so that's how we met. But outside of that, I think we both share in a passion to just really make a difference on the planet. And so that's why I'm here. Like I said, if you want to find me, please, 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 please get on my YouTube. My YouTube channel is Coaching Matters. Also, get on my Patreon. I am Coach Carla Nicole on Patreon. So please, like, join my community. I'm big about creating and instilling the power of us getting back to health and wealth.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Well, I'm gonna go right here and put a little link for anybody that want to come in and speak on this topic once we get going. But what we're
Okay.
gonna do is we're just gonna go down the list, man. We're gonna go down the list and we're gonna discuss. I'm going to read these off one by one, and we just going to rap about them. And I'm
Okay.
sure you've gotten a lot of flack on your page for what you said. I know how it is. Sometimes when we admonish or correct or speak to our sisters, they get a little
Yeah.
upset sometimes with accountability and humility. And it's so
Right.
beautiful because we're going to talk about that accountability and humility because you mentioned something within these five. So we're going to get right into it. Your first one, you said, many Black women's minds are controlled by television. So, Miss Delise Smith, hi, Coach. If you don't mind, since you know, Coach, do you mind typing that in the comments? Number one, just so we can have a little lesson for the transcript. Anybody that don't mind playing secretary, administrative assistant, or whatever we calling it these days.
Right. The
Many Black
moderator.
Exactly, moderator. Many
Yes.
Black women's minds are controlled by television, and you emphasize lie. Speak on
Yes.
what you mean about that, because I got my own perception about that, but I want to know how you feel about that, because I don't know if you mind telling your age. I said you a little bit older than me, but do you mind exposing your age?
I don't. Listen, I'm every soul return is a blessing. I am actually 52. I'm a grandmother and a mother of two. But I did want to say that the reason why I brought up television instead of television is because when I came into my spiritual purpose, I decided to detach completely from all television. And what
Mm-hmm.
I mean by that is I took myself away from all media. I'm talking about news and everything. I detached from it completely. And the reason I decided to do this um, was because I needed to break free from programming. We
Mm.
look on TV for programs, not realizing that we're programmed while watching it. We're programmed by the different things that's conveyed to our mind on a continuum when we're watching TV. And
Mm-hmm.
so I understand that a lot of the Black women, or should I say, brown girls, we have a tendency to get swooped up and just wanting to get so caught up in what's current, what's going on, what's the new trends, what's he doing, where's he at. All of those things is the reason why I believe that it's so important that we pull out from getting so caught up in television, because
So
it
let me ask
really
you.
does program us.
I'm sorry. Let me ask you
No,
something. So, like you said, with your age, I remember
yes,
growing up, and I would just remember the women in my family just marveling at shows that came on at night that they would, uh, inadvertently allow me to watch
yes,
Dynasty,
yes, sir.
Dallas, what's
Knots
the one,
Landing.
Knots Landing. And I just
Yeah,
remember these shows had white women in life of this eloquent life, and they did what they
yes,
wanted, and the men controlled stuff. And I just remember
yes,
these archetype characters like Young and the
right,
Restless,
yes,
Victor Newman and J.R.
yes,
Ewing, how my aunts would talk about comparing regular men from this small town I lived in to these
absolutely,
men, how these
right,
women had these powder rooms. Even me, as a child
right,
said, when I grew up, I want to have a big house where my woman could come in like Liz Taylor, and she got a big glass powder room, and she spray
yes,
a little
sir.
perfume on her, and then
Perfume,
she
yep.
get a little dip, and she go out to
Mhm.
her man, and he got his scotch with 4 ice cubes, and he drinking, and it just had this image of just like, wow,
Images, yes,
that's how I want to be. Can you
yes,
speak on a particular television show or particular event in your life? Because I have one I'm explaining in a minute. A particular
okay.
television show, a particular
Mhm,
event from pop culture in your life that
mhm.
altered or controlled your life in a way that you can go right to it. I got one, I can go right to it, where I was watching a movie and boom, I made a change of mind. Can you speak on a situation like that?
I would probably say The Cosby Show,
Okay, go ahead.
because I'll tell you why. The Cosby Show really impressed on me that Black excellence is possible. I didn't come from poverty. Let me just be clear. I came from a suburban um, city in Cleveland, so I'm not from poverty. So let's get that clear. However, when I was seeing, a doctor and a lawyer being married, it was like, oh, so we
Hmm.
can be of Black excellence. We can have that. So I would say that's the very first, personally, that was the very first program that I watched that I was so in awe over the fact that we had so much Black excellence that I never saw before. Because even in Fred Sanford and Good Times and all of those, there was still the struggle. There was really a
Yeah.
lot of, you know. And so when I got to the point of seeing, Bill Cosby being the doctor and his wife the lawyer, it really impressed upon me that we can be in Black excellence. And so that was one of the things that really, I would say, shaped and molded my mindset.
Now, the Cosby Show, I have a different take on that now. But like you said,
Okay.
I can't even front. When I was a kid, I
Right.
could say, man, Cosby Show had me. Different World had me. That's the reason I went to college. That's the reason I went
See?
to HBCU. It's
Right.
the reason I wanted to be married. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Just being
Yeah.
real. So, Carl
Right.
Winslow, those guys, they impressed on me in such a great way. But now, as a grown man, I could see how some of that I could see where it's kind of, I don't know, Bill Cosby. I know they don't give us a good image for nothing. And now I kind of
Right.
see
Right.
why they gave us Bill Cosby. But I'm gonna speak on mine real quick.
Right.
And then
Okay.
we'll get back into the subject because I want people to really understand where we're coming from. I can
No,
remember the
absolutely.
movie Boys in the Hood. Man, I wanted to
Mhm.
go to the Air Force and fly planes. And Larry Fishburne, Ice Cube, Cuba Gooding Jr. It was one of our
Mhm.
first Black movies to hit the screen. And I went to the movies to see it, snuck in with my homies. And, he said, straight up, military is not a place for a Black man. And just
Mm.
that one line in that movie, the military is not a place for a Black man. It changed my
Wow.
whole perspective. And now I look back, All the
Right.
guys that went to the military, I know,
Right.
excuse me, are retired. They
Right.
doing well.
Right.
It just changed my perspective. And to piggyback on that, the Cosby Show, I remember growing up on a farm. You know, we had our own land, self-sufficient. We killed animals. We had a smokehouse, just did everything on a farm. And,
Right.
you know, the Cosby Show, I can remember being in, want to take brick masonry at my high school, and the vocational hall was on the back hall. You know, carpentry, brick
Right.
masonry, mechanics, electricians, all that stuff. The vocationals, and when the Cosby Show came out, it was kind of like my high
Right.
school guidance counselor like split the school in half. It was like these are the college prep kids, these are the vocational
Mhm.
kids, and it kind of
Okay.
stratified like college kids gonna be better than the
Right.
vocational kids. And I took
Right.
brick masonry, and my guidance counselor said you need better electives than brick masonry. You know, I was going to take a trade as an elective, but I knew I was going to college. But she was like, you know, to get into college, you need to have better electives than masonry. So I realized they went and got Bill Cosby to push college on us and pull the trades, because that's when they were starting to let immigration in, and the
Mhm.
Latinos coming in. And as soon as Bill Cosby and Different World came out, they took the trades out of school. They were replacing us.
Mm.
So I
Okay.
see how that was used. But I said all that because I wanted to set up television and our
Yes,
women,
sir.
the image that's portrayed of us on television, and the things that we see that we
Mhm.
desire based on what we see on TV. I say it all the
Yes.
time, and I hate to say it. I wish niggas would have never been let on TV, the radio, or the movies, because it has misconstrued our mind to the way things should be.
Mm.
What do you think about reality TV and how that affects our women? Because I think reality TV is worse than J.R. Ewing, Dynasty, Young and the Restless, because it shows us acting a certain way. What do you think about
Right.
reality TV and how it affects the minds of our race?
Well, personally, I think that I don't personally watch reality TV, but I have noticed that there is a contingency of issues within that diagram that they have already set up to have those shows. In other words, there has to be fighting, drama, back and forth, um, relationships all over the place. Cheating is a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
All this mastery of look at what I have and look at the lush, look at all this plush stuff I own and all of that. And it's not realistic. Our
Mm-hmm.
problem is we're not in reality. And for me, if we're going to portray our people, we need to make sure that we're portraying it properly. First of
Mm-hmm.
all, to be in real time, and I'm sure you will be in agreement, in real relationships, it's monotonous. Let's
Mm-hmm.
be honest. We're going to pick
Boring.
the kids up, we're picking up
Better
the
get
sis,
used
we're
to me.
going
Get
here, we're going there.
bored. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. But when you have all this drama, chaos, back and forth, and anger, constant anger, and then we wonder why our blood pressure is blowing up into our all over into our hair. We wonder, why do we have all this going on? Well, you're constantly angry about something. You can't ever want to make love because you're constantly angry about
Yeah.
this and angry about that, and you say no to your man, all that stuff. It's like if you really want a solid love affair, it's got to have some monotony. It has to be
Mm-hmm.
some vulnerability, and there has to be intimacy. If none of those things are in place, it's going to be chaos. And I believe that a lot of these reality TV shows are showing a lot of chaotic behaviors, very dysfunctional, and it's not showing us in the best light.
Why do you think we respond so well? Like people, when they create art for us, they say,
Mhm,
if we just make it traumatic, dramatic, full of dysfunction, why do you
mhm,
think we respond so well to the things that we say that we didn't like growing up and despise? Why do you think, for example, women, why do you
mhm.
think women respond so well to shows that show men being misogynist, cheating, lying. Why do you think women love these shows? I give you a perfect example.
Mhm.
When I first met my wife, I would joke with her, and she realized it, and she stopped doing it. She had her own hair salon, and she would get home sometime 9, 10 o'clock from work, certain days,
Right.
and she would
Yeah.
watch Law and Order Special Victims Unit, and
Okay.
these
Yeah.
are the heinous crimes where kids and women are
Yeah.
getting attacked, and it's a special cops unit. And I would be
Right.
like, how do you calm down and wind down your day with a
Watching
show
that. Right.
about they found a woman in the alley, she was kidnapped? Like, how do you calm down? How do you wind down? How do you
Right.
get your ice cream or your champagne or your glass? Shout out to
Right.
your little drink. You look nice with your drink. So, but
Oh, thank you,
how do
baby.
you calm down or wind down? And you want a relationship, you want a man, and you say, okay, it's girls' night out. We gonna sit here and we know we want a man. Instead of drawing vision boards of the man we want or discussing our life, we gonna sit here and we gonna watch a TV show about men dogging women. How do they
Yeah.
make that popular? And then I want you to speak on this in general.
Look at
Kevin
this. You see this?
Samuels, excuse me,
You see what I'm doing right here?
it's a drug.
It's a drug for
Why
you.
is it a drug?
Absolutely.
That's so.
Yes.
Say for example, Kevin Samuels had a show, and
Hmm.
women hated this man, were perturbed by
Yes.
everything he said, but they
Yes.
tuned in. Anything that I dislike, I'm not watching. So I want to understand. You say it's a drug. I know it's a drug. I can see
Yeah.
it's a drug. Why is that a drug for us as our culture, but specifically our women? Why do our women
Mhm.
love to watch the very thing that they know they don't want?
Okay, so I hope you're ready because I need you to buckle up for this one because my answer is not going to be what you expect to hear.
Mm-hmm.
The reason that women are so hell bent about what a man is doing in their relationship is because of mainly they are purposeless. They don't have
I
a
agree.
purpose.
Oh,
Without a
my grandma
purpose,
always said that.
Javonne, women cannot see beyond what their man is doing.
Mm-hmm. What
Because
that
I
mean that?
know it sounds like that doesn't make any sense. How do you
It
go
does.
from cheating to purpose? Well, let me explain. For a man to get sent, really get sent and set and settled into his mastery of his vision of what he wants to have in his life, a man has to learn to control his genitals. He has to learn to be over top of mastering his body. His
Mm-hmm.
his his body cannot be shared with every girl that he sees. He just can't
Yeah.
be out here just hoeing around.
Yeah.
I'm not on no monogamy shit. I'm just saying as an example.
I dig
A
it. I
man
dig
has to
it.
be able a man has to be in his own mind. I gotta know that I'm in control of my body as an
Mm-hmm.
example. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
For women, we have been indoctrinated very young to be so swooped up in imaginary things. For
Mm-hmm.
instance, when we were young, we were given baby dolls. We were told that Disney, Barbie, Ken, all of that stuff is going to bring us what? Taken care of. We don't
Yeah.
have to take care of ourselves. A man's going
Yeah.
to come and take care of you. This is the programming I'm talking about, okay?
Exactly. That's why I love
Until
the
a
first question.
woman, until a woman gets settled into her purpose, she then has a whole life. A
Mm-hmm.
purposeful life now takes the side eyeing and suspicion out of the heart of the woman because
Basically,
she's
get
busy.
some business about your damn self. Get you some
Yes,
business
she's
about
busy
yourself.
on purpose.
Yeah.
She's now creating. She's now trying to see, well, what can we do, babe? I don't care about what you're doing out here with women. I care about let's uplift you. What can you do? How can you be appreciated? What can we do to make our stuff built?
Can I?
This is
Can
why.
I'm
This is
sorry. Go
why
ahead.
most women. No, you're good. This is why most women don't understand it is so important. She has to get on purpose, and men have to get on mastery of sexuality, of their sexual self. Once those two come together, they're a power couple, period.
Now, peep this. Now, she says she's a life coach and she got her own thing. We're gonna talk about that again because I'm gonna be sharing her and I'm gonna be having her on certain days. Just my guest host. I love how she broke that down. You know, my grandma used to say, "Just get some business about yourself." I'm gonna take it a little bit further, and I want you to respond on that. But what
Okay.
she said makes so much sense. When you got a purpose and you got some business and you got to move and shake and you got something to do as a woman, the last thing you
Yeah.
worried about is where your man meet at when he ain't with you. You know what I'm
No,
saying? And
it's not your business, first of all.
it's
And second
exactly.
of all, his genitals are connected to him. Your
Mm-hmm.
genitals are connected to you. So why are you concerning yourself about what he's got going on? Focus on your
Mm-hmm.
purpose. And that changes
Exactly.
everything.
So my grandmother used to say, a woman, and I want you to respond to this, a woman is mainly worried about where a man's meat is at when that's all she can do is satisfy his meat.
Yes,
You know what I'm saying? She worried
absolutely.
about where his
Yes,
meat at because it's like that's her only skill is making them
yes,
come. So it's like, well,
absolutely.
is he
Yes,
somewhere coming? Because if he not somewhere coming, what if he's somewhere and some woman is giving him a massage or building him up or pushing
right,
him to a plan or helping him
right.
do his taxes? It's like you're so worried about his meat because that's all you can do is attend to his
Yes,
meat.
that's
Uh
right. Your grandmother was so wise. Absolutely. She's right. Yes.
Before we end this topic, tell our
Hmm.
vision.
Yes,
Right
sir.
now, we have our own television. I say all the time, the cell phone and the internet gonna
Right,
ruin the black race. We doing
right,
this to ourselves on the internet. I want you to
right.
talk about these internet podcasts because now we're monetizing this content. It's like
Yes,
fuck it.
sir.
At first, Love and Hip Hop used to do it to us. You know what I mean?
Right.
Love and Hip Hop used
Yes.
to do it to us.
Right, right, right.
These different. Now it's kind of like we do it to ourselves. It's like literally like we can get on these podcasts like me and you right now. We could be up here and I could be saying some old dumb slick shit to you and you could be talking
Right,
shit and we could be arguing about black men and black women in relationships. And it
right.
seemed like that shit go a little bit further with us. It seemed like in
It
our
does.
in our in our race, the social media landscape is like talking about how hard it is for black men and black women to coexist in a relationship is the number one thing, but it's most people that's never been married, most people that's never been in a functioning relationship. I want you to
Right.
address what you see through the
Mhm.
social media landscape of how black women are representing themselves, how you feel like we could better represent ourselves, and how you feel like we are seen to the world in general through the social media lens because people ain't watching TV no more. People are looking at
Right.
social media.
Well, I personally think that depending upon what you're watching, because it goes back to the appetite of the viewer. So the appetite of the viewer is going to be what they draw to.
Mm-hmm.
People that really want to elevate their mind and get in a higher growth and they're seeking better for themselves are going to attract to our podcast, what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
But if they're on a lower frequency to where they really enjoy all of that drama and back and forth and nonsense, they're not going to attract to a podcast like this. Mind you, the reason why we tend to have more exposure of the nonsense is because as long as we are continuing to see that black women and black men do not get along, it's going to keep us divided.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's not just because of the Caucasians either. There is a whole momentum of keeping the black man out of the home
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of women are listening to their girlfriends about what men think. They're not
Mm-hmm.
talking to men. They're not befriending men. They're not listening to men. They didn't have fathers, so they
And,
don't know.
and that's number two. We're gonna get into that. We're gonna go ahead and get right into that. You just caveated right into the perfect segment. Uh,
Right, right.
Many number two. Sister administrative assistant moderator. You might not have to write all this down, but it says many black women were fatherless or just had a man in the house,
Yes.
not a father that influenced their mind. I'm gonna read that two more times because I wanted to sink in. Many
Right.
black women were fatherless or just had a man in the house, not a father that influenced their mind. Again, Many black women were fatherless
Yes.
or just had a man in the house that
Yes.
wasn't their father to influence their mind. So
Oh,
what you were saying about women listening to other women, I want to speak on this
yes.
whole without a father and
Mm-hmm.
seeing a father provide and protect. This
Yes.
whole 50-50 who does what in a house situation. A man has to make this much money.
Yes.
Having not
Nonsense.
seen a man and a woman collaborate and cooperate in a household, a lot of
Right.
men and women don't understand how things go. Sometimes one is up, sometimes one is down, sometimes
Right.
this is this. I want you to speak on your life. Did you have a father? How your
Okay.
father and mother interacted, and what
Mhm.
you got from watching them. I know that's a little bit personal, but
No,
from
it's
reading
not.
your comment, I could tell
Right.
that you had some good stuff that I kind of wanted to be shared. So go ahead and wrap on that for me.
So I was raised in a dual family by a dual family. So my mother and father were married till death did them part.
Mm-hmm.
My father was very involved with me. I was an only child. Okay. My mother and father were very unique. So my mom was spicy and my father was very reserved. But when he spoke, you listen, if you get what I
Mm-hmm.
mean. My
Yeah.
father worked for the FAA for over 35 years. So, with that said, he did swing shifts. He worked 4 to 12, midnights, and 8 to 4
Mm-hmm.
every 2 weeks. So his schedule was doing this. And then 3
Same.
months out of every year, Javonne, my father was gone to Oklahoma. My mother was allowed 2 weeks to go and see him when he was gone. And then
Mm-hmm.
I would go to my grandparents.
Yeah.
Said all that to say, my parents were very spicy. So my mom was she was an Aries, if you know anything about Aries. She was a little spicy thing and she wanted to have her independence. However, my mother was very headstrong about making sure that we gave a damn about my father.
Mm-hmm.
She taught me how to love my father
Mm-hmm.
by doing such things. My father always said he didn't want bought cards. He wanted us to make them. And I
Mm-hmm.
thought, what's he got us making these cards? My mother was like insistent. We must make the cards. I don't
Yeah.
care how you feel. That's what your father wants, and that's what we're going to do. What you do in this home is fine, but once you leave here, you're on stage. You represent not just me, your father. So
Mm-hmm.
she always made sure in my mind, my father was very important.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I was a daddy's girl anyway, so it wasn't hard.
Yeah.
Now, here's what's deep. When I was in high school, every single morning, no matter what shift he was on, he would get up in the morning with me at 6 a.m. and eat breakfast with me. I
Mm-hmm.
would talk to him about issues, interracial dating, because I was in a predominantly white school. There
Yeah.
were no black boys to date. I went to
Yeah.
prom alone, if you get my drift.
Yeah.
There was no black boys there at that time. And I always said in my heart, no disrespect to anybody else, but I'm not going to date. I'm not going to marry a man that's not the same as my father, just
Mm-hmm.
because of that
Yeah.
understanding that I had a certain respect for and regard for him. So anyway, I was just taught early on the importance of, what a father means. And he was very involved,
Let
always.
me ask you
He told
this,
me when
because
my makeup was wrong. He said, "Ooh, you finally got your makeup right." I'm like,
let me
really?
ask you this, because I'm listening and I'm trying to interpret, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
listening and I'm trying to interpret it. And I can hear you saying your mother uh
Hmm.
very adamant about making sure y'all saw your father as your father, a great man, and respect him,
Yeah,
make cards and whatnot. But you kept saying my mom was spicy. My mom was
she
spicy.
was.
and my
She
dad
was,
was
yeah.
third, and dad
Yes.
used to be at gone 3 months at a time, and so
Yes.
I'm hearing some
And so,
things.
well, I'm glad you brought that up, because normally you would think, well, since dad was gone, mom was having her little fun with some men
Yeah.
coming in and out of there, and what was
Well,
mom doing? Shit.
Mom, I know she ain't had nobody coming in and out, just at that scene that she
She
made sure
didn't.
y'all
She
hold
didn't.
him.
No, but with the 2025 view, we're gonna think that, right? But no,
Yeah,
mom
yeah.
was very dedicated to the marriage. But mom, when you look back on how my parents interacted, my mom loved my dad in a very, very clear way. She didn't
Mhm.
candy coat it for dad. And what I mean by that is, if she felt a way about something, she would
Yeah.
tell him in the cards, like, yeah, I love you and all, but this is what it is, and this is how I
It
feel.
sounds like, they had a beautiful marriage, because when I hear you say spicy, that I mean,
Yeah.
I can tell how you look. I know your mom was fine. So when you say spicy and dad reserved, it sounds like dad
Right.
got a hose to a dime and had a good job, and
Yeah.
you don't when a man works hard and pays for everything, your
Right.
opinion is valued. But when a man works hard for everything and you could just
Yeah.
stop him in his tracks and speak your mind, you pretty damn fine.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
that man is taking
That's
care of you,
true.
and he's real fucking happy to have you. So I want to ask you a
That's
couple of
one.
questions
That's one.
about that.
That's definite. Yes,
Yeah,
that's
yeah, I can
definite.
hear
Yes,
it. I can
everything
hear
you
it in
said.
it. You telling it, and I can hear it. Like, my mama was
Yes,
fine as
sir.
hell. My daddy had a good ass motherfucking job, and my mama was spicy. She was an Aries, and you know how they
She
are. But
was.
she talk
Yes.
her shit when she get ready. But she let me know my
Right.
dad was the motherfucking man. So let me ask you
Right.
something. Have you ever been married? How did that affect you in dealing with me? Have you ever been married before?
I was married the first time, so like I keep telling you, you better buckle up.
Mm-hmm.
The first time I was married to a DL brother. So,
I ain't mean to laugh. I ain't mean to laugh at that shit. I don't know why that's so funny to me.
it's ridiculous.
Go ahead. Go
Okay,
ahead.
so the first time I got married, it was very interesting, and I was very upset. I came from Berea, Ohio, which is a suburb of Cleveland, and I moved all the way to southern Springfield, Ohio. Got married and found out, oh, well, wait a minute, this isn't going to work. That's not going to work. But we did have a beautiful daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And so after that, I took a 7-year hiatus after that marriage.
Of
And
dating.
got married to yes. And I
Uh-huh.
got married to my second husband, which is my son's dad.
Yeah.
And I was a little bit of a cougar then. We were 12 years different in age.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
again, I told you, buckle up. I told you.
You was spicy.
So
You was being your mama.
I was spicy, yes.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So then, and then he and I didn't work out. But
Mm-hmm.
the thing about marriage, my father was the one that told me, I don't think marriage is for you.
Mm-hmm.
Just go ahead and play the field. It's okay.
Yeah, you ain't gonna.
But
You ain't gonna find nobody like me, baby. You ain't
no,
gonna
it's
find
not
nobody
gonna
like me.
happen. It's just not gonna happen, right?
So let me
So,
ask you something real quick.
sure.
I see women all the time, and I say this
Mhm.
a lot of times, and people don't believe this. A woman with a father has 10 times more potential to get married than a woman that grew up with just a single mother. Now, my thing is this: you obviously then had two husbands. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Do you think growing up in a household, like you said, with your mother honoring your father and the way you move and matriculate out in the world is a reason that I ain't gonna say it's easy for you to be married, but you done had two husbands, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Uh,
Well,
Speak
well,
on
I'll
that.
tell you this. I would be honest with you because of my spiritual mission, why I'm here. I know my purpose. I
Mm-hmm,
believe that my actual journey in marriage was for me to get the understanding of how to be married. In order
mm-hmm,
for me to coach out here
mm-hmm,
people, married or not,
mm-hmm.
divorced or not, I have to
Yeah.
be able to experience it. So I feel like my life was more for me to experience have a human experience so that I could speak to it. Also, I had a dynamic family. I mean, dynamic. I can't describe it. All of my family was married, like my grandparents and all that. It was just
Yeah.
normal for me to see nothing but monogamy. So I thought everybody was monogamous when I came out here. I was like, oh my goodness, what is this? And found out, no, honey, that's not what's going on. So I had to get open spiritually to understanding that everything is not what you saw, but you did see it functional. So now that you have that in your background, or like I say, in my vault of understanding,
Yeah.
I can always look at any relationship, whatever dynamic it's in, and say, well, wait a
That's
minute,
if they got a down
is it
low, huh? You can point it out, baby.
function?
That nigga down low. I see it. I done been, I done been through it. That nigga
Right.
bye. I'm
Yes,
playing with you.
exactly.
Look.
And now I'm able to be like, is it two things I have to look at when I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking to coach a couple? Are you functional or dysfunctional? I don't care
I
about the
like that.
dynamic. I
I
don't
like
know if
that.
you're poly or if you're
Yeah.
polyamorous,
Does
poly
this
this
shit
or
work for y'all?
mono that. I
Mm-hmm.
don't care about none of that. I just care if it's functional or not.
So let me ask you this: fatherhood, accountability.
Yes,
Your father was
yes,
in your life a lot, so I'm sure you know
yes,
about being humble and accountable. I have
yes.
this theory, and me and my wife talk about this all the time. You know,
Okay.
boys have humility and accountability beaten into them. Literally
Yes.
beaten. Either the
Right.
boys get their ass whooped, or boys gonna have to knuckle up and fight. You know
And
what I'm
they do.
saying?
And they do.
So
Yes. Yes.
there's a level of accountability that boys are going to definitely have to you know what I'm saying? Boys are gonna definitely have to deal with. As
Yes.
far as women and little girls
Yes.
growing up, you know, it's kind of like, even I got a daughter now, even when I school her now, sometimes I have to catch myself fussing and then being like, that ain't mean for us to do. You got it. So it's like there's a different
Right.
level of accountability. I say all the time to my wife, there's when a woman is having to be accountable and she's being admonished, it's like a heartbeat that goes on in their heart. And when they feel that, it's like, I gotta dodge this accountability. So they start making
Yes.
up stuff and blaming and passing the
Yes.
buck and insulting
Yes.
and calling you names. And it's a
Yes.
situation where I feel like that's one of the biggest issues in our community between black men and black women. Men are finally speaking up and saying how we feel. These were
Yes.
barbershop conversations that have
Yes.
spewed their way over into social media. Men been
Right.
deadbeat dads, dogs, low life motherfuckers for forever. And now men are starting to finally speak up and say, this is how I feel about our sisters. And our
Right.
sisters are seeing that us saying how we feel as
Mm-hmm.
cutting down, bashing,
Mm-hmm.
destroying. You know, if you don't love your mother, if you have something to say against a black sister, you know what I'm saying? If you want
Yeah.
to hold a sister accountable, I want
Right.
you to explain to me, you know,
Mm-hmm.
how having a father, how did he discipline you? How were you able to get to this phase? Because there's no way you can be a life coach without understanding and realizing and getting to a state of accountability. Even in marrying the down low guy, even in
Yeah.
having two divorces, you can
Right.
see where you're accountable at, because you
Absolutely.
teach people this stuff. So how
Absolutely.
did having a father, and did that, or does it even matter? I need you to speak on that for me.
So I will tell you this. One of the biggest things that my father said to me, and we had went rounds about this. I think I might have been about 14. And remember, I was telling you we would sit at this table and we would talk. And he was telling me, you have got to learn about responsibility. And I'm like, I don't like that word, Daddy. I don't like it. I don't like that word responsibility. He made
Did
me
you
write it
really
out.
say I don't like that word?
I don't like that word. I said, that's my least favorite word is responsibility. I hated that word with a passion.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I want you to write it out. So he made me write it. Then my father would have me watch boxing with him.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom was okay with it. She was fine with me watching the gruesome boxing. And I thought, what the hell? Why am I watching this? And he would tell me, you see how he's up against the ropes? Yes. Well, that's life. There is no quitting. We don't quit here. So he
Mm-hmm.
would give me little cues like that. But the hardest part was me having to understand when he would tell me, it would just break my whole soul when he would tell me no phone. I couldn't
Mm-hmm.
have company. Oh my God, I'm an only child. So that was my social diet, was to have friends over and go and do things.
Mm-hmm.
And he'd be like, no phone. And I mean, he never spanked me physically, but
Mm-hmm.
he would give me those harsh punishments. And one of
Mm-hmm.
the hardest punishments he would give me is for me to make my own punishment.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, what the hell was this? He
So
said,
let
and
me
a
ask.
lot of times he would laugh to me and say, sometimes you were harsher than what I was thinking.
Mm, mm. You know, it's
But
funny that you
again,
said that with
yeah,
accountability and having that father,
yeah,
uh, and somebody checking you and putting you in your place. I was telling
yes,
my wife, she
yeah.
lost her father when she was like 16, but when she
Oh,
was
God.
younger, her mom and her dad separated when she was like 4 or 5 years old. So he was in her life,
Okay.
but not like right there. So
Right.
I was telling her that a lot of times a woman's first time being told no or being met with resistance by a man
Yes.
is when they
Yes.
grown on their own in their
Yes.
apartment, got their
Yes.
own shit, and they ain't got to listen to no man. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So I can just recall a pushback when we first got married, and it wasn't a violent pushback or just
Right.
certain things that I would ask or require or look at her, and I could tell it was just like, what you
Where's this
mean?
coming from?
What you mean we ain't doing this? I'm grown.
Yeah.
How can you say we not going to
Right.
do this? Or, how can you tell me how I'm going to iron my clothes? Or, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So there's a certain pushback.
Yeah.
Uh,
Absolutely.
by being told no. It's like a princess syndrome. So
It
we
is.
live in a situation where our women are having confrontations with men that I don't think that they would have if they had seen a mother and a father interact and seen
Yeah.
conflict and seen communication, seen a little
Right.
argument and seen
Yep.
the family move on. What do you think about that as far as, you know what I'm saying, young women getting out to the world and dealing with men, moving in and dating, and men trying to lead women who have never had a father, may have never been told no, or nobody checked them outside of their mother. And, I want to talk about this one day. I have a theory I'm going to talk about with my homegirl, Javonne. We was talking about
Okay.
every mother fights their daughter one day. Every single mother got to fight their daughter one day. So, but I want you
Mm-hmm.
to speak on that as far as the level of, hey, I know how it feels for a man to say, hey, sit down. I don't
Right.
want to hear you talk right now. Not getting to
Right.
explain yourself. Speak on that for me. And did that do well in your marriage, or or were you like, hey, I had a daddy and you ain't even the level of respect of my daddy? So speak on that for me.
One thing that I can say about my father that I'm really thankful for is when I did get married, my father never told me I can always come back home.
He was like, you better go
So
out and you better pick the right motherfucker.
you better figure it out. So he always wanted to make sure that I was independent of him. And if I
Yeah,
even borrowed money, and I could count on my hand that I borrowed from my father, he was very strict about it. Now, is this a borrow or is this an asking me to
can I
give it
have?
to you? Which is this?
Yeah,
Yes. What is it? So again, my dad was he was a military father. So he was a little different. It wasn't just like, oh, my daddy. It's like, no, he was strict on some things.
yeah.
But when you sit back and look at it, a lot of the hard problems with women not being told no is that when a woman is fatherless and purposeless,
That
you really have something on your hands as a man. And I've been talking about this on my Patreon because
you
I
have a
want men
child
to
to
understand.
raise.
Pardon me.
You have a child to
Absolutely.
raise.
Yes, I call them daughter wives. Yes, absolutely.
Wow, that's
Because
amazing that you call them that.
daughter wives, because she has no clue what a father is. For instance, with my daughter, she's 26, she'll be 26 coming up. And her father he was very absent in her
Mhm.
life. But I have instrumentally placed a father guide So
Yeah.
although she's grown, as we want to call it, you and
Mm-hmm.
I both know what it is. Although
Yeah.
she's grown and adulting and all those things, and she's a mom, a single
Yeah.
mom, still feel it is so important that even if you did not have the father involved with your children, get a man in that child's life. I don't care if it's male or female, it doesn't matter their age. They need the father figure. They
Mm-hmm.
need to feel that. Don't think, oh, it's they're 18, they're 19, they're 20, they're 21, they're older.
They
They don't
good.
need it. They do. They do. They need the father's words. And mind you, because she did not have it, she has a hunger for it. So
Yeah.
now I'm like, hey, not a godfather, but a father guide. There's a difference. Godfathers we pick when they're little, and oh yeah, I want you to be the
Yeah. Yeah.
godfather. The father guides are going to stick with them
For
and
life.
commit to guiding them. Not
Mm-hmm.
not strong arming them, but if they do need to be talked to and reprimanded, they will be. And I let both my children know, my 16-year-old son and my 26-year-old daughter, this is your father guide right here. And I don't want to hear that he's not my daddy. That's not allowed here, period.
Mm-hmm. So check
So
this out.
it's vital.
Moving into the next subject, you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
It's really
absolutely.
piggybacks off the next one. All of these so go together. Many women see Trump's bigotry as unacceptable. Black men see it
Yes,
as honorable and it's something to respect. Now,
yes,
you having had a father can understand that what
yes,
they're calling bigotry is what
yes.
we're calling a man being honorable, respectable, putting his feet
Right.
down, doing what he
Yes,
say he's going to say. A man
yes,
saying, "Hey, look, this is America. We care about America. We'll put tariffs on you to make sure American citizens are good. We'll kick these
right,
fucking foreigners out to make sure American citizens are good. We'll shut down the fucking federal funding so we can watch and see what y'all motherfuckers spending this money on so we can make sure the American citizens are good. We'll just
right.
simply do what we need to do to make sure the American citizens are good, regardless of how you feel about me."
Feel,
Now,
yes.
how are you
Feelings.
able to? I feel like that father figure. Uh, how are you able to be able to like really just identify that that's what's going on? Why black men and some black women are fucking with Trump? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to get into such a Trump conversation, but I
No,
like
no,
the
no.
idea that
Right,
you can see that
right.
Trump bigotry is something that could be respected by a man.
Because I listen to men.
Okay.
Here's what's true. Let me be honest with you. I've come to realize that we as women, we don't shut our mind down when a man is speaking if we're in disagreement with him.
Ooh,
Let me
say
say
that
that again.
again.
Let me
Hey,
say that
listen,
again.
please put that in the chat because women all over the world need to hear that. And I'm gonna steal that from you. I'm gonna give you credit. Though. Go say that again.
Women have a hard time when they're in disagreement to shut their mind down because they're trying to have a comeback or they're not listening to what that man is saying.
Mm,
And so sadly, when a woman can't hear a man's position, she can't understand a man either. How can we be a unit? Matter of fact, my father, as an example, my father didn't go to the church at all. He was not church going. Do you hear what I'm telling you? He was
yeah,
not a
I
church
love.
going man at all. He did not care for the church personally. My mother was an Advent Methodist. Her and I went to the AME every Sunday. You hear me?
Mhm.
And there was no beef in belief difference.
Yeah.
However, there was a regard and a respect that your father sees it different than me, but your father has the honor. So it doesn't
Yeah.
matter how my mother felt that he didn't go to church. Mom was still like, he still matters, regardless of the fact that he's not going to this church with us every Sunday. Doesn't matter.
And
He
so
still
she didn't
matters.
make it look like, well, me and
No,
you are better than him. We doing something
no,
good by going to church. Your
absolutely
dad,
not.
you know what I'm saying?
No, no, sir. No, sir. So because of that, I understand. Shut your mouth. You're all in your emotions. Let's listen to what the black man is saying. perhaps we might hear better if we listen to what he's saying. He's not saying he's all about white men being bigots towards him. What he's saying is the man stands on code. Men have male code. Because they have a code of conduct, men understand that and respect the code of conduct. But because I listen, I don't have to be in agreement with it, but I can listen to what he's saying and respect it. I don't have to sit back and convert to Republican because all these people are Republican. I don't have to do that. But damn it, he can talk to me and tell me, look, this is what I see. This is
So let me ask
where
you
I'm at.
something. You said this. I want to see, can you interpret my thoughts right now? You said men stand on code, and that's why we could fuck with Trump, because he'd stand on code. Now, people think that we dislike Kamala. Explain why black men didn't fuck with Kamala.
Just out of her own credit, I don't think she had a whole lot prepared to be the in that position. I don't think she was well prepared personally. And I also don't believe, if I'm just candid, I don't believe men are confident in women leading.
Because they don't stand on code. Right
You
there.
said it, not me. I'm just saying that's what I believe. That's what I believe.
She was asked, she never could say, this is what I am. This is what I'm for. It was just like we couldn't get a clear cut answer out of her for anything. And that's one of the biggest things that I have had in my marriage in dealing with women in anything. Women have a way of softening the language. I didn't stab him in the heart and killed him. I poked him in the chest and he died. You know what I'm saying? I didn't stab him in the heart and kill him. I poked him in the chest and he died. So it's like there's a certain language that women have developed that as soon as we hear it, immediately, I would rather know somebody don't like me than to know somebody is trying to manipulate me. Like Barack Obama, the difference was, I liken it into, Barack is a guy that wants some pussy. Barack wants some pussy. Barack wants some pussy, bottom line. Barack will smile in your face, take you out, wine you and dine you, give you the most beautiful night. And as soon as you don't give him some pussy, he gonna poison your drink. And you know what I'm saying? Donald Trump is gonna walk up to you and grab you by the pussy and say, I got $100. What's good? But it's the same purpose. And I'd rather somebody to stand on code and just be real. Like, I want some pussy. You know what I'm saying? It's like, this is what I don't want you to cap for me. I don't want you to try to fool me or trick me. You know what I'm saying? I want you to like me for me. I don't want to have to holler at you and you say, no, I'm fine. And then I said, well, you know, I would have took you out the roof, Chris, or did this. And then you change your mind. Number 4, talking about Kamala. Many black women saw Kamala as black, yet she's not openly. She used her sorority to portray she was pro-black, yet she has to deceive blacks. That's that DEI, illusion of inclusion. We got, she's light-skinned, she's in a sorority, so she can represent the sisters. Speak on that, why you think we just want to be represented, because we'll take an African, and if an African do something great, fuck it, he black. We'll take anybody. We'll say brown people, oh, that's brown people did that. You know what I'm saying? That illusion of inclusion. What is so strong about our women want to be included, even in how we look, walk, talk, carry ourselves? Even the makeup now seems lighter, like the filters. It's like the white European, Eurocentric features. What is it about us that you think to the core that want us, because we're talking about women tonight, to be included into the pop culture or the mainstream vibe?
Well, I personally think that Kamala had an agenda to try to make sure she got the Black approval. Wasn't necessarily that she wanted to win. She just wanted the approval. She wanted to be able to get some type of, leverage, if you will, to get more women to be like, yeah, because we as women, we love the lies. We don't like the truth.
Wow.
Let me tell you why I can stand on this, and I stand on it with everything I got because I'm a woman and I can say it. We love the lies because we lie to ourselves. We lie to
My granddaddy
ourselves.
used to say, if a woman like you, you ain't got to lie to you. She'll lie to herself for you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we lie to ourselves. So if we're honest with ourselves, we have to know that, not to be in no racial dominance or nothing like that, but who has she partnered with? Who is her
Mm-hmm.
husband? Now,
You already
when
know.
so now that we understand that, we have to be mindful that that is very huge when you're talking about politics. Because when you're looking at it, her skin may be light skin, but her heart may be Caucasian. And she may be playing a game to get you guys in an uproar doing her steps with sorority the whole time. She has no desire to do any Black agendas, any Black issues, or anything of that nature. Not saying I know anything about Kamala because I don't deal with politics anyway. But as an example, this is what I spiritually pick up. It
Yeah.
wasn't necessarily about Kamala being for the Black woman or whatever. And Black men, I believe, looked at it as well. Her partner was not Black. A Black man sees that. I'm sorry, he does.
So let me ask you this. Even with that, the illusion of inclusion, let's say Donald J. Trump, Georgia, the election shit down there. They sent this Black female district attorney in this Democratic state to come after Donald Trump. And she came after Trump, literally committed career suicide. Biden ain't pardon her. Right now, the New York district attorney, Letitia, I think her last name is Jackson or Johnson. I think it's Jackson, Letitia Jackson. Don't quote me. Black woman, district attorney. They're sending her after Trump right now to basically file charges against him for stopping the aid in New York. Why do they? Well, we know why, but why are our sisters so easily and they call it bed winching? Like, so you think it's ironic that the two states and the two situations that where they have went after Donald Trump have been in states that are highly Democratic states with female Black district attorneys? That's not a coincidence. What do you think about why they use us and why they know it can be done, and that illusion of inclusion of our sisters? Like, I mean, I guess it's their job. I mean, I just want your opinion on it. I
Well,
mean, we see
you
what's
have to
happening.
remember that when we make an uproar, we make a difference. Our Black voice has a lot of power, regardless of what many people think. When we speak, people listen. Not just not just the mainstream, but people that are really trying to figure things out are listening to the Black voice. Because if you pay attention, now since so many people are in an uproar about what's going on, you notice that there's now a lot of people talking in regards to brown and Black people. Now there's a lot of conversation. Well, we're not against brown and Black people and this and that and the third. It's like, okay, but it took us to go down this rocky road for us to get to some type of conclusion that this is not about you.
Yeah.
So I believe that our voice has more power than we realize. And this is why, again, we're able to get more things in arousal. Because listen, our Black voice is, if you notice, Black men, especially, I think you said you're over 6'5". You know, people, you can't really be angry out here.
Of course not.
Angry and walking in a crowded area without somebody feeling threatened by their life.
I can't
So
even
that's my point.
I can't even raise my voice on the internet without being misconstrued as crazy,
That's what I
psychotic.
mean.
I'm a woman beater. He looks like
Right.
he beats women. He looks like
That's
he
what I
beat his
mean. Yes.
kids. And,
Yes.
I laugh because I say, as the modern masculine man, my face might become a meme for masculinity. The mad guy. I'm ready to represent angry father.
Right, right,
Before we
right.
get
But
out of
that's
here.
why, but that's my point is that when our people are angered, passionate, or really serious,
Mhm.
we're feared.
Oh, of course. Of course.
And so we have a high power because of that alone.
And why wouldn't we be upset or angry sometime? I'm not angry at the white man. Fuck the white man. I'm angry at us. Number
Right.
5, black mothers are responsible for teaching daughters how to love black fathers. Without clear direction of the black mother on how to love the father, no black woman will know how to listen, respect, or submit to his lead, period. It's almost like you're saying if a woman didn't
Mm-hmm.
have a mother to teach
Mm-hmm.
her to love, adore, and respect her father,
Yes.
there's no way she can get in a relationship with a man and love and respect and adore that man. Now break that down for me, because
No,
now
sir.
this is where I see your point. I swear to God, I see your point. But I think that I hate to use this word. I'm gonna use the word coached. I think some women
Right.
can be coached or trained. I'm fucking with you. But I see your point. Don't get me wrong. I see your point.
No,
I'm with you,
no.
but
Right.
I need to hear the logic behind it, because I think some women
Yes.
just who didn't have that may have just go ahead. I ain't gonna give my point, but I need to hear what you mean by that. 100%.
Well, let me just say this. I don't think that in our purest state of coming to or being in existence as a young girl, because I was one, I
Yeah.
don't think that I would have appreciated my father had it not been for my mother. And mind you, my mother and I were very different in opinion. We were
Ooh,
always button heads and we didn't get along and I'm daddy's girl and all that stuff. However, when she spoke about dad, it was
mhm.
without a shadow of a doubt. I respected what she said. Now, here's what's neat.
Can I ask you one
Dad,
question? Because I can't forget
dad
this.
showed me. Okay, go ahead.
You said you don't think you would appreciate your father without your mother. I just made a
No.
video. I said if a man let the women do what they want to do, the house would be a shit show. Explain why.
Mhm,
Because you said he was a very loving, caring man, and he ate breakfast with
mhm.
you every morning, and he was
It
there.
did.
So why
Yes.
wouldn't you? Is it just the fact that he had to discipline or hold you accountable? I need to understand,
Yes.
why
Yes.
wouldn't you appreciate your
Absolutely.
father without your mother?
Right. Right. What you just said. It's the discipline. We don't like it. We don't like discipline. We didn't like, I just told you my least favorite word was responsibility. I didn't want him to tell me that at all. Don't tell me about responsibility. I don't like that word, Dad. I don't care if you like it. You got to understand you have to have it. You have to take on responsibility for your actions. That was hard for me to digest. Okay, I could swallow it, but I didn't digest it. So it was a very hard thing to digest, if you get my meaning. So what
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you is the discipline, not if I would have had a mother that was anti-discipline or anti-accountability or told me not to listen to my dad or your dad is mean or you know how your dad is. All of those little cute little words that I know women say to their sons and daughters, you know how your dad is. As soon as he comes in, you know how he is. So you better get your clothes. You gotta get your clothes picked up. You know how your dad is. You know how your dad is. That is a programming not to regard dad. That's a programming, Javonne. We're
We gonna
teaching our
flip
kids
this.
not to
We talking.
regard the father.
Go
It's a
ahead. Go. Oh,
programming.
cook, cook,
So
cook.
so when we whisper to our kids, listen, when dad gets home, you behave, you do what you're supposed to do, and you sit down and you behave. Now, once he goes to work, we don't have to worry about all that because daddy's so mean. But in the midst of this, I want you to just behave while he's here so we have a calm home. Most mothers have these conversations with their kids. I'm just honest. I didn't have it, but I know it's being had. It's being had in homes. So what that does psychologically to the kids is Dad's the mean one. I can't have a regard for discipline. That means I have to own my shit with my dad. I have to go to him when stuff ain't right. When my dad wasn't around, my mom imported the discipline. There was no difference of alliance. They were in complete alliance. I couldn't wedge in between them ever.
So
If
let me
dad
just
said,
get
it
this
went.
straight.
If mom said, it went.
Let me just get this straight because we're gonna clip this to summarize this for anybody that can't understand. This sister is saying her father was a father in the household and he was
Yes.
a great father. He got up every morning and
Yes.
cooked breakfast with her. But
Yes.
if her mother wouldn't have instilled in her to listen and respect your dad because she's a female child, she
Yes.
would not
Yes.
have loved and respect her daddy because she hated discipline and responsibility that
Hated it.
fucking
I
much.
told you
We gonna clip
responsibility.
that
Yes.
thing.
Responsibility and the word no. I did not like it, Javonne. I was like, I don't like the word no. Why can't I have my friends? Why can't I go here or there? I was always so hurt whenever he would get on me about something. But again, I said there was never any physical punishment, but dad got on me about stuff that wasn't acceptable and would sit me down and tell me, look, this is not acceptable and you need to take responsibility for your actions. That was horrifying for me. I hated it with everything I had. So because my mom upheld, this is the word, they
Upheld.
were in alliance and she upheld his wishes. There was no difference of opinion. She wasn't whispering in my ear, your dad's mean. So when he comes in, do this, do that. We didn't have no alliance like that. I couldn't get along with mom better than dad. That wasn't an option.
Well, I do every show, I like to invite somebody to come in and give their take on the topic. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna get out of here in a sec. I don't like long drawn out podcasts. I feel like an hour 15 minutes. If you got to talk about some shit 2, 3, 4, 5 hours, it's like, where's the fucking solution, man? Y'all motherfuckers is up
Right,
here
right,
so
right.
bored as a motherfucker. I got shit to do. I got a child to put to bed. I got to kiss my wife. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Right,
I
right.
ain't got 4 hours to fuck what you call it, Nicole. So I'm putting this link up there for anybody that want to come in, anybody that want to speak. If not, you know what I'm saying? We're going to start wrapping this thing up. But, some
Okay.
points that really stood out to me that I really
Mhm.
got you. You just cooked I never thought about it like that, just when the mom just prepping the child for dad to come home. And I
Yes,
don't think
sir.
there's no malice in that. You know what I'm saying? I don't think there's
It
no malice
is.
in that. You
There
think
is
it is?
malice. Yes,
Okay.
Javonne, it is because it's showing the child there's a divide in
I mean,
discipline.
this is what I mean. When I say no malice, I'm assuming that the mother is doing that because she doesn't want the child in trouble. She wants dad to come home to a good day, drink his beer. When I said no malice in it, I'm assuming she is not strategically trying to make the child feel the father. Or are you saying the mother is trying to make daddy look like the bad guy?
Listen, remember we spoke earlier about daughter wives.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Daughter wives are the main contributors to this behavior because daughter wives don't understand fathering and discipline. So what
Uh,
daughter wives do, they want to befriend the child. They're trying to get favor from the child by being buddy with the child. They're putting their child in the friend zone while the
mhm.
father is implementing discipline.
Wow. Wow. Like I said, I'm just assuming mama just want daddy to come home to no
No,
shit.
no, sir.
You know what I'm
It's
saying?
all a
You know what I'm
strategy. It's all a
saying?
strategy. No, it's all a strategy. And unfortunately, a lot of divide in fathers. And I'll be honest with you, I have a nephew that has an uncle that is very strict. And, he didn't have a lot to say to him. But I was a mother guide to him, to my nephew. And I would always explain to him, your uncle's very strict on you, but understand that he's really going to teach you some things. Always have a regard for your father, always have a regard for your uncle. Now,
Mhm.
when the uncle is over here, I don't have to go outside and whisper, come on in. I know your uncle's here. or whatever, but you can come in and see him. I don't have to do that. As soon as I say
He
your
already
uncle's
knows.
in there, as soon as I say your uncle's in there, he's like, Uncle's in there? Oh man, he's gone. Because I made sure to import in his mind the power of giving thanks to the uncle and giving regard to him.
Okay, we have the sister. I'm assuming that she's been doing her
Hey,
thing.
coach.
Hey, Daily,
I'm
she's my
loving it.
client.
So
She's
check it
my
out.
client.
We gonna let you speak, sister. I'm gonna try to make you big. Yeah, there you go. Go ahead and give your take on a nice topic, and I
Okay.
appreciate you for doing your thing for us.
I'm an ambassador for Coach CARLA. I don't have my glasses on. Don't ask me where they at. I've been popping up here and there doing other stuff for her too. Basically, I was I call it a daddyless daughter, but I became a phenomenal woman thanks to her. I have a t-shirt that says that. And everything that she done talked about is true. We, at the point where I was in my developmental growth, well, I'm only 17 though, right now, even though I'm 56. So as far as the whole topic at hand, yeah, it's worth speaking to young people about. I talk to a lot of young people because I work in Walmart, and a lot of young girls like, oh, this guy is this, that. No, honey, don't jump into stuff, because Satori Seal has a book called Phases of Femininity that I'm going to get and read, which I wish I had back then. You know, the fact about not having a dad, you can have a man in the house, but that's not just, it's more to it than that. You got to have him there to be able to sit down, talk to you, and tell you about relationships, the ins and outs. Because the year that I was raised, they would, shh, we don't talk about that. Nah. Certain subjects wasn't talked about. And I was raised in the 80s. So
yeah,
but the whole entire time I'm typing on both things. I had my phone and that and my other tablet. So yeah, it's well spoken and everything. Both of you guys did an excellent job. I wish there were more people to watch this. Once the recording is done, I'm gonna share it with other people because it needs to be talked about. It's stuff that don't nobody talk about. We don't know.
and we're going to be having some more of these conversations. Ultimately, people don't realize that the yelling and the screaming and everything I do is catered toward mental health clarity. So some people don't realize I have a whole class, Bears and Bubbles. I'm a coach as well as Miss Nicole. So we're going to link up and hopefully we can get some sisters to come in and talk and we can have discussions about accountability and healing.
Yes.
Believe me,
number
I'm
one
still
thing.
on accountability on
Yeah,
all. So
that
Now,
purpose.
I wanted
a
to
growth
chime in real
process.
quick. I wanted to chime in real quick, Javonne, about what
Go
she
ahead.
said. So when Delise first came to me, we talk about chronological age versus maturity age. When Delise was first coming to me as a actual, client, she was 10 years of age based upon her maturity level, not her chronological age. Okay. So I explained to her, you will grow as you learn, as you learn how to do what? Make decisions. One of the hardest problems with women is we have a hard time making decisions because when we have men in our life, men want to take care of us, right? And a lot of times they mistake and say, we want to take care of everything, so you don't have to make decisions. But that's hindering the woman not to be mindful of decision making.
Yo, I want to
It's
speak
essential.
on that before we get out of here. And I think I think that's a great topic. It could be the smallest thing and my sisters, my wife, anything. Which one you do it? Or you decide. What should I feed the baby? It's like sometimes,
Right.
like you said, having to make that decision means I have to stand on it and be accountable for the outcomes of it. And that
Right.
a lot of hard a lot of times for sisters. But I
Right.
appreciate y'all, man. We're gonna get out of here. I thank you, Miss
Okay.
Delise, for what you did for us. And tune back in next Wednesday, 9 o'clock. You're
Yeah.
gonna see me and Miss Carla Nicole again. We're gonna have something cooked up for you to talk about. We ain't talking
You
about
should
no
do the one
crazy
about the
shit.
alpha and the beta man, because a lot of women don't understand that. When she
Oh
talked
yeah.
about the fact of decision making,
Mm-hmm.
God rest his soul, my best friend and my heart, he passed away in February, and she was preparing me. They both were preparing me and making provisions and providing for me to say, you got to make decisions on your own now. I'm like, I don't know how to do that. She said, oh, you got this. And I'm like, oh, I don't know how to do this. She's like, but he had already prepared me here,
Mm-hmm.
made provisions. It was already there, but I didn't see it. She showed it to me, made the vision plan. And I'm like, okay, I got it. I'm doing it. Because I have 2 cars and one broke down, and I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. Joe, Lord, is there a spirit? Hey, you available up there? I know you're busy, but hey, it worked out because the way she taught me to meditate in order to speak to the other side, it's like, okay, get up, light my candles, pray, meditate, and I'm like, write my vision, make it plain, don't procrastinate, just do it. And I'm like, okay, I forgot to write this down. Can I squeeze that in? Yeah, and I do my breathing. She does breathing life into your soul, and it's like, all right, I got this. I start my day with that.
Well,
If it
Mr.
wasn't for
Least, we
her,
appreciate you.
my mantra, I don't know what I do. I open the closet and I see it, and I'm like, I got to do this.
We appreciate you for coming in. We appreciate you for being the moderator. We appreciate
Yes.
you for bigging up Miss Carla. And we're going to get out of
Yes,
here
sir.
with the
Yes,
extra.
sir.
Y'all, we love y'all. We thank y'all. Is there anything you want to say before you get out of here, Miss Carla?
Oh, I just appreciate you for the opportunity. I had so much fun. It was awesome. I really did enjoy myself. Like I told you, I was looking forward to just vibing with you. You were exactly what I thought you'd be, which is very, very instrumental as far as questions. I thought, damn, he must have practiced that. But you did amazing. I love it. I love it. I just had amazing. And like I said, make sure to join my Coaching Matters, subscribe to it, guys, and join my Patreon. Come on over. I appreciate you
We're
so
going to keep
much.
y'all abreast on what she got going on. And me and her going to be linking in the future. And me and her going to talk. And we appreciate y'all. And we finna get on up out of here. Get on up out of here.